speaking of college football, there's a lot of stuff going on in that world right now. Let's head over to Hammer Don, noted American AP Tone.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was not my helmet to make any decisions with, so that's where I stand on that issue.
All your excuses started at 12, counting down to 1. That's how we crown a CFB national champion.
Incredibly informative and catchy. You nailed it right on the head, Pat. Now, Pete Thamel hasn't tweeted about it, but so it's not official. It's not Pete official, but Inside Carolina is reporting that UNC finalizing a deal to hire former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick, which Brett McMurphy, then, who is a legit insider in this game, did put out and kind of stamped it. So it does feel like it's potentially done that Bill Belichick could be the next head coach at UNC.
Congratulations to UNC and to Bill Belichick, if that is the case. I do wonder what Pete would be waiting on, because the way this is kind of all unraveled is there was a moment where Bill Belichick accepted to become the UNC head coach, but it was under certain terms. So a lot of the newsbreakers saw accepted to become UNC head coach, but didn't follow up with it. There's a 400-page thing about how this is going to go if I am the head. I will be your head coach if it goes like this. He's probably had more meetings. He met with the trustees, I do believe it was being reported. And now if Inside Carolina and other newsbreakers close to the situation are saying it's true, that must mean that they've come to an agreement on how this is going to operate. And with everything he laid out on our show the other day, Bill Belichick's going to win.
Yep.
Congrats to Bill. Congrats to UNC.
Oh, yeah, Bill.
AJ, how do you feel about this Bill Belichick move back to UNC happening and everything that he said on our program the other day? How do you feel it actually ends up working out down there?
I mean, I think, Bill he's used to winning. He definitely knows what it takes. But I didn't really take it that serious until Bill came on Monday and kind of laid it out, and it sounded like, okay, this is, I'm sure, what it sounds like he tells them when he is interviewed. And you realize, like, yeah, this guy's serious. Like, he wants this job and has a whole plan on what he's going to do and how he's going to handle every situation. So hey, it's good for college football, isn't it? I think it's great.
I think so. I think it's good for football as a whole, too, especially what he's planning on doing there and how he's planning on raising those boys to men at UNC. Mm-hmm. He said a pipeline to the NFL, and also whenever football stops, they're going to act in a certain way, and they're going to learn and everything like that. I think it's understood you're going into a Belichick campus, Belichick football, so he's going to have to get the right recruits in this entire thing. But to your point about not really taking it seriously, I guess we all should have known that he was going to be wildly researched on something that he's going into. Like, I think that's kind of Bill Belichick football. It always has been. I mean, whenever we were doing stuff with him for the draft, the amount of film he watched, the amount of hours he spent in there, everything he did, he would like to know everything about anything he's getting involved in. That is Bill Belichick football. That's why he lived at the office in New England. That's why the hours were what they were. That's why the success was what it was. But I think we all thought it was him trying to utilize it as leverage for an NFL team. We thought this was like a kind of a scream from the town crier saying, and by I don't mean him being the town crier, but just to the world saying, hey, I want to coach again. And I'll go coach in college. I think the other people say he would coach in high school. He's going to coach again. And I thought it was all an angle to get an NFL team to quicker say, hey, we're interested in bringing you in. Don't do that. Same. But then once he talks to us, it's like, oh, this guy has a full plan on how he's going to run this team. He's only 15 wins away, I think, from the all-time wins record at the NFL. I think we all thought this was not real. Even whenever he was explaining exactly how he would do what he would do, I'm like, there's no way the 400-page term sheet would be matched. Sounds like they got something done. I did not expect this.
Yeah, no chance in hell, I thought, once again, just like AJ until he came on Monday. But it is just – I mean, it's a different sport. Obviously, college football is becoming much more like pro football, but the group of humans that you're dealing with, like you're dealing with 17 to 21-year-olds as opposed to grown-ass men who still have a lot to learn as professionals, but now you're dealing with people who are becoming men under your watch. So obviously, he's been around college campuses. He knows these players. He has coached these players. But that's just a completely different challenge. Just like with, the great Nick Saban. When he came up and dealt with professionals, it was just a different challenge, even though he had experience being, coaching in that league, been a head coach, running a program, running a recruiting. And, you can say you're going to delegate it and do it, but he's going to have final say over everything. So it will be a huge, huge challenge. I definitely going to bet on Bill Belichick, but I thought no chance in any world that Bill Belichick will be coaching anywhere besides the National Football League.
How do you think it works out for him?
I think the one thing that we're forgetting, I understand the business side of things is much more like the NFL, but the timeline's still the same. The recruiting periods are still the same. You still got a whole spring ball period. And then you got summer ball, right? Like those little breaks that you're used to having, that 6-week break before training camp, that break after the season before, obviously they have the combine and all that stuff, but that's just football stuff. You don't have to deal with any other people. You don't have to call parents. You don't have to talk to parents. You don't have to do any type of recruiting.
In the summer, like multiple weekends in a row, you got to host recruits, whether you're position coaches, everybody comes. Right. That happens all summer too at most places.
Correct, and it's all the camps. He's got to be present at all the camps all summer for all the big time recruits. The timeline is still college.
Good luck, Coach.
Go get him, Bill. Good luck, Coach.
They got to be paying him
handsomely.
Yeah. Well, I assume that was a big part of it too. Is like from what we heard with the last coaching cycle when he was interviewing for jobs, like UNC is going to let him do whatever the fuck he wants to do. Like, I have this 400-page thing, and it's going to be exactly like this, nuts and bolts. I don't want anyone else getting, interfering with it or trying to change stuff. And it kind of seemed like at this point in his life, that maybe wasn't the case anymore with an NFL job. Like maybe he wasn't going to be able to be the GM, be the head coach, and kind of have his fingerprints on everything, because that's kind of what, it started getting out. He's like, hey, he doesn't need to be the GM, but obviously when you do that for as long as he did, like, he wants to run everything.
Mac Brown, 73 years old, fired from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Probably into retirement. Congrats, hell of a run.
Boy, Mac.
Bill Belichick, 72, hired. First time being a college head coach. Same place, North Carolina. Con man, does this hurt your heart a little bit? See Bill Belichick take another job, Yeah,
I mean, it's a bummer because
he's a North Carolina boy. But, if he would have went to another NFL team, you would have had to go through seeing Tom in a different uniform. But instead, you'll just see Bill with a different visor, or a different hat, or a different sleeveless on, and it'll be a college one, not an NFL one. That does feel pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely a benefit. I didn't even think about that, so I am glad that I won't have to experience that bullshit. But it would have been nice to see him kind of become the all-time leader in wins as a head coach, because he is so close to it. But it does feel like, even though, all the college stuff, all the timelines and things like that, like if you are a high school player, and granted, I never went through this, you guys probably have much better knowledge than this, but if your goal is to play in the NFL, which I assume most guys who are going to play big-time D1 college football are, and maybe, compete for a national championship too, but they might have a chance doing that playing in the ACC, like, wouldn't you want to go play for a guy that knows how to get to the NFL and be successful in the NFL versus some of the other schools? Because, like, Deion's whole thing is he has the blueprint, which, of course, he does. He was, all-pro, Super Bowl champion, everything, but, like, Bill also understands how, the NFL world, the NFL locker rooms work more than anybody. So wouldn't it be like a huge advantage for him? Like, hey,
but then there's there's different ways to go about doing things. Not everybody's a fit for everything. Everybody wants to go to the NFL, but I'm not sure everybody is fit to be in the NFL and Bill Belichick's system. So finding the right guys, not getting the wrong guys. Then what happens if he pitches these guys nowadays and they don't play, and then they want to leave? I mean, it's just like, and just like in the NFL, whenever people would leave New England, they wouldn't make it through the waiver wire. They're getting signed because Bill Belichick thought this person was okay. They're going to be okay. So if anybody from North Carolina hits the transfer portal, everybody's going to probably want them. That's probably going to become a thing. It's just like there's a lot more to deal with. And I think Bill will figure it out. And the Rolodex of humans that he has at his disposal over the years, decades and decades of people he's worked with that can handle negotiations, that can handle director of player personnel stuff, that can handle scheme, strategy, all this type of shit. He's got those people in spades or whatever, But it's just like day to day, he does not know what he doesn't know yet about college ball.
Completely different.
He doesn't know what he doesn't know
Got
yet.
to deal with families now. Like, as a pro,
interactions.
You deal
A
with
lot more players, too. A lot more players on the team.
Yeah, more players, more families.
What do you got, 105?
Handlers, like agents.
Shefty has tweeted a link to Thamel's story saying it is close. North Carolina is working to trying to close the deal with Bill Belichick to make the 6-time Super Bowl champion. Well, he's won more than 6.
6 is a head coach.
Yeah, head
6 is a head coach. Come on. 2 is a DC for the Giants. Super Bowl champion, the Tar Heels coach. But sources told ESPN there are still issues that both sides need to work through. More from Pete Thamel and
Chloe, ESPN.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I thought Drudel did okay the other
He
night.
did. He crushed it.
I thought Drudel. I didn't see a lot of
Got
it.
good pipes, too. Great pipes.
Yeah, good commanding presence, too, in there. Drudel doing his thing. Went to Syracuse. Who would have thought?
Yeah, that was a shocker.
Who would have thought? That's Chris Lowe. And Chris Lowe on it.
Oh, yeah.
We know that. Still some things we're working through. Bill Belichick said, I told you that this is how this is going to happen. Look, page 296. Lombo, what was it? 290 what? 290, page 294. Look at it. Back on the bottom. Zoom in. Not that one, that one. Bang. Told you. This is how this is going to go. If you don't like it, I'm not coming. So it's up to you guys. We're close. We can certainly make this the reason that I'm not doing it. Or we can just kind of let that go. I'm excited to see who loved it from the beginning, who hated it from the beginning in North Carolina. Because it feels like there is, the way it's been talked about is there's some people that are really in, then there's some people that aren't, whose decision weighs more. That's like at West Virginia. Like I think Ren Baker is just making the decision, but I assume there is a group of people around him that have to okay it and approve it. It's like at North Carolina, who is in the decision-making process? North Carolina is working to try to close the deal with Bill Belichick to make the 6. Okay. Sources added that the ball is in Belichick's court and that North Carolina officials are on board with him becoming the coach. A resolution is expected in the near future. Among the looming issues are a potential role for his son and current Washington defense coordinator Stephen Belichick, North Carolina's NIL resources, Belichick's salary, and resources for the staff and reporting structure. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
What's reporting structure?
Who reports to who? Who's boss?
Yeah, that's good though. Bill is smart and he knows you got to get that. You got to have that set up beforehand, so there's no questions later.
So that's an NFL mindset. That is very much like, hey, I've been here, done that. Who reports to who here? At the end of the day, when push comes to shove, who has 2 votes and who has 1 vote? I just need to know that. That's a massive thing. Resources for staff. That's coach's salary cap now. Like basically what you're going to be able to have. Belichick's salary, big. That's a big part. So they don't really have North Carolina's NIL resources. Like how do you just change that overnight? I don't know how you do that. And then Stephen Belichick's future, it had been reported. We don't know if it's real or not. We don't know what's real and whatever is not real. That Bill Belichick was willing to take a job at North Carolina as long as Steve was head coach in waiting, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like wanted to do the handle, allegedly. Now, I don't know what's real and what isn't real. We should have asked Bill that question, although we would have not got an answer or whatever. He would have talked about structure and setup and the future of the organization and program and everything like that, but that could potentially be that. I mean, who knows?
Can you put that in a contract, though? I know they said Mayo was kind of set up for that, but let's say, what if he's not successful? Then all of a sudden his son takes over?
Yeah, so then you gotta fire 2 contracts then. You got to fire the current head coach and also the next head coach. Whenever you fire one coach, you got to fire the whole family. What's the buyout for both there? There's probably a lot of issues. If they're saying it's near, let's assume that some of those things have already been settled and they're just waiting on a couple things. But like who's reporting to who is that's a big deal to decide. And if they don't know that yet, that means there's probably still some opinions on who should be reporting to who. And that one right there is a lot of pride and ego from a lot of people trying to figure out. That could be difficult. All you need is one person to be like, nah, that's not how it's going to go here. This isn't the NFL. This is college still. This is my school. Well, Bill says it's my school.
It's my school now, actually.
It's my school when I come in there. I'm fascinated. Because this sets precedent now for a lot of places in how they're going to operate going forward.
I would assume, and obviously it's different, but the NIL stuff is probably a very difficult conversation too, because they're a blue blood basketball school. They're not just going to be like, oh, we got Bill Belichick, now all the resources and everything is going to go into the football program, because they compete for a national championship every single year. And I'm sure the athletic department and a lot of the boosters are like, hey, let's remember that the main thing here at North Carolina is still the main thing. Like, I bet that is a very like contentious point of interaction.
Well, good luck to them down there. And also to West Virginia, who's allegedly going to have a coach announced soon. Age, allegedly.
Come on, just name him. Yeah. I mean, Pac-Man already named him. Let's do it. Rich Rod, let's do it.
I got to my phone. I had a bunch of people saying Pac-Man said it happened. I'm like, shit. Yeah. So I text Pac-Man. Who'd you talk to? Pac-Man. Pac-Man's plugged in.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And it's like what he was saying, here we go. And then he was also going forward, any DB that gets 2 picks in a game, I'll donate $100,000 to. I'm like, I love what Pac-Man.
Good move.
I love it. This is what West Virginia's going to be. Yes. Let's do a lot of that. But I don't think, just like Pete had been waiting on a decision to be made where everybody else is reporting it's done, there's probably a lot of people. I don't know about the West Virginia situation because I don't know how many people are involved. But in North Carolina, there's probably a lot of people who are like, it's getting done. It's getting done. And then they are legitimate sources, and then they're saying it's getting done. Maybe that's the case in West Virginia, but maybe it goes the other. I have no idea. I would like a piece of information though. I'd like it. I think a lot of people get antsy. Like, hey,
it's gonna happen. Has to happen soon.
But I believe there was a projected Wednesday of next week was a projected
week.
time frame? This week, like last week. I think there was like a projected middle of week, I think is what was said, because of bowl and also transfer portal, and there's a lot of stuff happening, I think, in the next day or two for the West Virginia football team. So I think this has been the eyeball date, so hopefully we'll
Is the portal open right now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's open.
Somebody also just got named Conference USA Coach of the Year.
Who?
Coach is Jacksonville State.
Rich Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
He's a conference coach of the year?
Yes, sir.
Gonna go, coach.
Shout out Rod.
Guy can still coach.
Yeah.
Modern athlete, he can coach. Modern era, he can coach. He can go to a place 2 years, win, be coach of the year. That guy's got some business to clean up, doesn't he?
I think so.
He's got a story to finish,
Yeah.
Right.
doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Could you imagine that story? It could be. I think it could be. That'd be so fucking cool if that happened. It would clear my conscience a lot if they went back and won. That'd be great. Hey, how can I help? Let's go ahead and get this thing off of my shoulders. How can I get this off my conscience so I don't think about it every single day for the rest of my life, aren't you? And he's like, probably thinking the same exact thing. Hey, how can we get this because of what happened? That's quite a motivator for people, especially with a competitive drive to their hometown, home state. I mean, that'd be beautiful. Doesn't need it, obviously. He doesn't have the job. I don't think he's been named. Well, would be a hell of a story in sports if he goes back here. Fucking rich.
Whenever it's official, Pac's got to put another video out too.
I love it. Pac, if he's just going to keep offering up stuff. Guy has a 150-yard touchdown. Yeah, I'll throw in 10 grand. Mm-hmm. Just like bounties for everything. I mean, if that's what it's going to be.
That'd be sweet.
I'm okay with it. I don't know how it fits into the NIL shit, but do it. It's West Virginia is waiting to be great again, and it's only a matter of time.